I'm telling you, if this thing does not have assembled miniatures, this is going to be the shortest unboxing ever. Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., and this is an unboxing and rambling of Wolfenstein the board game. And coffee shot as usual. I got a new knife this time. Not as much of a fan of this one. It doesn't seem to be a flick blade. It's not really a switch blade. It's like a spring blade or whatever. This is more just, you know, a little divot over here and just spring it out, which works. I do like the little flicky thing though. That's a lot more fun. The reason I got this one though is it does have some nice perks, such as, if I can do this correctly, does this go? There we go. You see, it's got a light. It's got a light. And then we just have to, like, you know, unscrew it a bit, and we don't got a light. And then we have a bottle opener, and we have some other things, and this, whatever this is, I'm sure people know what that is. I don't know what that is. And it was like $8. So you get what you pay for. I mean, it's nice. It's not bad. I just prefer my other knife. So either way, let's go ahead and dive into this. This is an unboxing and rambling of Wolfenstein the board game. And if you're like, Alex, I thought you didn't back Wolfenstein the board game, you're not wrong. We're going to talk about that. And for the record, before I dive into this, let's go ahead and show you this. We have models require manual assembly. Right over there, modules require manual assembly, and of course, because of the nice shrink wrap, you could also see my entire top bar and camera. So, this game is, one of the reasons I did not back this game, is because of the fact that there were models that required manual assembly, until enough people complained about that and didn't like that, and Arkan, this game is by Arkan Studios, Arkan gave an option instead for pre-assembled miniatures for like $15 more. So you can get your miniatures assembled for $15 more. It meant you didn't have to invest in, you know, little clippy thingies and glue thingies and the time it takes to actually go ahead and you know, assemble them, because that's also part of it. Also, this coffee's half full because I already had a coffee this morning. I'm just having another coffee for the sake of having a coffee in my unboxing, because I think that's very important. Got to stay true to the brand. Still good, just half a coffee. Either way, let's go ahead and dive into this one. So, Wolfenstein the board game, based on the video game. If you didn't know about the video game, then this may not be a game for you, because I'm pretty sure it's targeting people who know about the video game. Let's pull this off. Nice little box. This is a trick, by the way. If you ever have boxes that have a hard time coming off, you can always just poke a little needle into one corner, which will give you a breath of little air, and it stops the box from restricting itself. The problem is then whenever you sell or trade the game, you have to be like, there's a hole in the top corner of the box. It's really small. You can't see it, but it's there. It's present. So, yeah, that's why I don't do it a lot. Although I probably should consider it for some of my games that I own and love and have kept for a long time. Wolfenstein the board game, the rulebook. So, if you're new to this channel, by the way, unboxing and ramblings are just that. They are unboxings and ramblings. I'll talk about the game, I'll look at rulebooks, I'll comment on the length of the rulebook, I'll talk about my coffee, I'll talk about my knife. Once in a while, I'll pretend there's a game in front of me. The rest of the time, I will talk. So, we have, how many pages? We have 23 pages total for the rulebook, 23 pages total. Although we get into card types, game setups over here. I usually find that stuff's all easy reading. Once we get to page 8 is where we have round sequence. Now we're starting to learn how to play the game, because now we have to actually pay attention. From 8 to advanced rules, don't care about that. 19, single player mode. The rules of the solo mode don't differ from the regular game. The singular player is obligated to choose 4 heroes and control them during the game. Honestly, this is a big section of text to just say, if you're playing it solo, do all the same stuff. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that they actually address that, because other times I'm looking for it and not sure. So it's helpful. So we have from page 8 to 19, 11 pages of, at times text heavy, at times image heavy rules. Whoa, image heavy rules. Whoa, image heavy rules. That's good. That's good, by the way. I'm not complaining. That's a good thing. That means this is a fairly easy to dive into rulebook. Maybe this is my homework for next week. Maybe I'll dive into this over all the other things I should be playing. Maybe I'll dive into this. I just got done with Burn Cycle. I just got done with Burn Cycle. Done is a relative term. There's 2 phases. As a content creator, there's 2 phases to a game. Let's look at the mission book first. We have, well, it's like 14 phases to a game, let's be honest. But at any given point, I decide what I'm counting. And right now I'm counting 2 phases. And here are all the missions we have, going backwards to front. Enough missions for variety's sake. Nothing different than a standard Zombicide experience. We have our tokens and punch boards. I will be paying heavy attention to these very shortly. Assembled miniatures! Yes. Go you, Arkan. This, just for the record, if this did not have assembled miniatures, I would have been completely fine packing this up and be like, that's not going to be an unboxing. This is not going to be a very nice unboxing. So, Arkan Studios is a company that has a history with board games at one point, and it seems they've jumped into a next phase as a company in the board game space, and have changed the way they deal with board games. Now, what I mean by that is their first games, and I don't remember all of them here, but there was Load, League of Ancient Defenders, if I'm not mistaken. That was one of them. There was Vanguard, I want to say. I think the other one was called Vanguard at War, or just Vanguard, or something like that. That was another one. Then they had another one that I don't remember. King of Average talks about it a lot. I don't remember the name of it. But let's start with Load and Vanguard. Load and Vanguard, in case you didn't know, were two games that were, I believe, Load specifically was basically just based off Rum and Bones. It was basically Rum and Bones with a new theme pasted onto it, which is fine. That's not the end of the world. If it's a good game, it's a good game. But the miniatures were amazing. Absolutely stunning. The rest of the components were garbage, like hot garbage, like not even like my degree of interest in the game. I got the game, I traded for it, I didn't back it. I traded for the game, and I got it, and I was like, these are some of the best miniatures I've ever seen, and I don't want to play this game because it looks like the rest of the game is a print and play. It was not even a good print and play, like a bad print and play, like the first print and play you ever did on a home printer that's not meant for print and plays. It was, I might be exaggerating a marginal amount. They were not good. Vanguard had the same problem. Vanguard, I don't know if it's as strongly based on another game or not. It might have been its own thing. I don't know. I could be wrong. And then there was the other one, the newest one. It was like an alien one. There was a name for it. I mean, obviously there's a name for it. Kudos, Alex. What was it called? I don't remember it. It was some sort of alien-based game. I don't know anything about it. At that point, I kind of tapped out. So those were the first three games, okay? By the way, these are not the thickest punch board. I generally rate punch board as being 3 different levels in general. Again, everything has a number. I always just classify things like this. There's 4 types, there's 7 types, there's 2 types. There's 3 different levels of punch board. I talk about this in my unboxings. There's normal, there's thin, and then there's wow, that's thick. Okay. The 4th level would be hot garbage, but we don't actually see that in general. This is thin. This is thin. This is not like normal. This is thin, but it's not hard garbage. It's totally fine. If any other company, and I probably wouldn't even be thinking about it at all. Give me a second. I got a quackle up calling me. Hey Jesse, how's it going? I'm currently unboxing Wolfenstein the board game. How are you doing? Yeah. Oh, we are hopping on. In around 30 minutes, we're hopping on TTS to play Cyberpunk 2077. You're not on speaker, so that's why I'm repeating you. RuneScape did not go. I had tech issues on Tabletopia. I fixed it, but I fixed it, like, by the time I fixed it, we had already given up for today. We're rescheduled for Thursday. Yeah. I had. It was fine. I think it's going to be the kind of thing that people who are looking to support them will take that as congratulations. Simon put out a statement, and people who are looking to hate on them will be like, and you didn't do this, this, and this. Yep. I'll see you soon. Alright, bye. That was Jesse talking about the game of RuneScape I was supposed to play and didn't because we had tech issues, and then the command statement on the shipping issues. So yeah, you can follow that conversation. Anyways, if this were any other company, I wouldn't even think the slightest bit about these tokens because they'd be fine. They're not ideal. They're a little bit thin, not badly thin, a little bit thin. Because it's Arkan, I'm like a little bit more like, hey, you could have like bumped it up a notch given your past history, because we haven't gotten to Arkan's Phase 2 as a company. Arkan's Phase 2 is a lot better. These, by the way, are a variety of tokens that will have a variety of effects, do a variety of things, have a variety of dials. That's like the most intricate stuff I'm going to say here. Then we have the classes and characters we have over here. These are roughly the same thickness. Again, they are fine. Are they the same thickness? No way. Are they? They're the same thickness. The boards, maybe just because they're bigger, they're fine. They're really fine. Like, don't, here, let's see if we can show you over here. Like, I mean, I could bend it, obviously, I could flex it, but it's not garbage. It's not garbage at all. The camera's going, perfect, okay. Sometimes when it doesn't focus, I worry the camera's not going. So we have Set Roth over here. Is that his name? Set Roth? Either way. So we have skills. We have his Dot Yichud Engineer. Is he Jewish? Oh, he's definitely Jewish. His name's Roth. Okay, Roth is a Jewish name. Dot Yichud Engineer. Dot is knowledge. Yichud is... Well, Yichud is generally alone. I don't know the translation. Those are 2 Hebrew words. Dot and Yichud Engineer. When attacking, Set may pay for light and heavy and weapon abilities using any types of ammo. Why is his name Set? Shouldn't it be Seth? I don't know. Maybe Set is not a Hebrew name or a Jewish name in general, not that I know of. So we have these various characters over here. We have BJ Blazkowicz, definitely not Jewish over there. We have Max Haas, who's definitely German. Klaus Kreutz, German. Bombate, who's possibly German. I don't know who Bombate is. I've played the video game, but it's been a while. I know BJ Blazkowicz. That's like the main character I know. Everyone else is just here. So these are all the characters with their health stat, their armor, their actions, their accuracy, all those different things, their weapons, their abilities, their action points, action cost, 1 AP to search, moving 1 AP per square. They have all the same stats for those things. It looks like they are all the same stats. So that's more about reminding the players what their action table is, which I don't think is a bad thing to have on the tokens. Then we have over here more tokens, lots more tokens, as well as the various rooms. These rooms are nice. If you look at this over here, we take a look at the rooms. I mean, the detail here, the art is pretty solid. I don't remember what the art was like in their older games. I don't remember if it was good, if it was bad. I don't remember at all. I just remember the miniatures were amazing and the components were not great. But again, we haven't really talked about Phase 2 yet. Phase 2 is, well, this stuff. I think Phase 2 starts with Wolfenstein, and Phase 2 represents a shift from the way they did miniatures. Their miniatures got worse. Not bad, but their miniatures were like so ridiculously good before. They used a system called Unicast, which is where everything got printed in a single mold. Apparently it's very expensive, but it was very good at what it did. Also, the miniatures were, very fragile, so there was a downside to what was happening with the miniatures. But yeah, they were absolutely amazing miniatures, but their miniatures now are a step down. We'll take a look at them shortly. I'll tell you how I feel with them shortly. But I don't think they're bad. I just think that they're amazing before. And so yeah, Phase 2 results a step away from Unicast. Unicast is no longer how they print miniatures, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes I'm mistaken on these things. Sometimes I say things that I think are true and they just aren't. And so hopefully I'm right about this stuff. But then also, more importantly to me, Phase 2 represented a shift towards being more of a board game focused not board game focused company necessarily, but putting board games out that are quality board games as opposed to quality miniatures that happen to have board games attached. And so to that end, we get to go and look through some of these miniatures over here. This, I don't believe this is anything other than a retail pledge, by the way. I think this is a retail copy of the game. There's a bunch of Kickstarter extras. There's a whole ton of walls. There's an expansion you can get. What's the expansion called? I don't remember what the expansion's called. We have our packs of cards over here. If we go through these, we'll do miniatures last because those are always fun. We have 2 packs of cards. I'm assuming 2 packs of cards. It looks like these are dice, actually. So we have our dice over here. These are definitely heavier. Those are cards. See, I thought I picked up this, and I felt that they were probably cards. And I picked up this, and I was like, I started to say cards, but they were clearly not cards. So there are dice. I like the dice. They're nice. I mean, I never had a problem with the dice before either. And so yeah, so step 2, Phase 2 started with Wolfenstein, continued with Masters of the Universe, their Fields of Eternia game. That I'll be covering that as well. I'll have a copy of that coming. And then we have the cards over here. Now, this is the second step, so tiles we're already fine on. And again, even though I'm like, hey, they could be thicker, I remember they're old tiles. I'm not complaining here. But the cards is the other thing where it looks like they have standardized cards here. Normal cards that don't feel like they're printed in someone's bad printer, which is a good thing because, again, until I actually had this in my hand, I was prepared for the fact that they would not be what I'm looking for here. So, where are we? So here we are. Let's go ahead and open these up and go through some of the cards you have here. Now, the question is the games. Now, I remember I never played Loader Vanguard. I know that there was enough positive stuff said about them that they weren't like really considered bad games, but I don't know if they stood out either. But again, I haven't played them, so I'm not overly going to comment on them. I read the rules for both of them, never sat down and tabled them. The components really pushed me away. So we have Wolfenstein over here. Wolfenstein is going to have a bit of a stealth-based system to the game, the way it works. It's a little bit, it's kind of the run and gun partially that you expect from Wolfenstein, but also with a heavy degree of stealth mixed in, so it's really not a pure run and gun. It's almost more similar to Reichbusters in terms of the high-level idea of what the game is trying to do. There's a stealth mechanic, there's like this threat or critical something other that if it gets too high, you lose, so you have to be mindful of that, which is something I actually started dealing with, speaking of Burn Cycle. I have that with Burn Cycle as well. So, and I haven't gotten back to the 2 phases of board games. We'll come back to that if I remember. Sometimes I go on these rambling tangents and I just forget. So we have a drone over here. This is going to be an enemy. We have a mech. We have their health, their armor. Again, that I'm not sure what that is. It might be their actions. I don't know what that one is. Might be their initiative. I don't know for sure what that is. That's probably their movement, I assume. Laser beam inflicts 2 damage to the target hero. Stealth flight. This model can move through closed doors without causing them to open. When the drone cannot move through the door, e.g. it's blocked by a model on the side, the drone opens the door. Interesting. Quick counterattack. After the drone's first attack each round, roll a die. On a success, the drone attacks a second time. Ooh. That's fun. Why is it called counterattack? After the drone's first attack. It might make more sense if I know the rules. I don't know why it's called counterattack when it sounds like he's attacking a second time. So I don't know that part over there. We have the various characters, cards. Fire Trooper, automatic shotgun, 2 noise, I'm guessing, for something, for dice. Again, that action symbol, I don't know. Shrapnel shot. When this model attacks a hero, make an attack with 1 attack die against all other heroes in the same room, corridor. It sounds from that solo mode aspect that you're always playing with 4 characters. We have a Panzerhund, we have a Rocket Trooper, a Soldat. Yeah, this is definitely a base pledge. I remember like Hitler was an option in the non-base pledge. Ubersoldat in the Kickstarter copy. General Oscar von Grimm, Mecha-Hitler. Oh, maybe Hitler is in this copy. I don't know what I have in front of me. See, I don't know what I have in front of me because Arkin sent me this. Going back to the beginning where I said that I didn't back the game, I was interested in the game. I didn't end up backing it. Later, when doing late pledge videos, I kept on waffling back and forth whether I should or shouldn't get it, and I was like, I have too many games in the genre, but I kind of want it, and King Ravage has said such positive things about it, maybe it's a game for me. I went back and forth, but eventually I reached out to Arkan, and they sent me a copy, and I'm happy for that, but we'll talk about it more as we play through it. Event, Chased. We have Event Envy, we have Event Fake News, come on, no. Event Inactive Panzerhund, that's a rare sight. Ahead of you lies an inactive Panzerhund. Can I pet it? Remove the ammunition from the Panzerhund, gain the reward, and discard this card. Nice engines you have. Disassemble the Panzerhund. So we have a whole bunch of event cards, so I don't know anything about how that implements in the game. Again, I know general, high-level ideas of the stealth aspects and how you have to manage there. The AR Marksman, so we have all these different weapons you'll have, the Endurance, the Marksman Scope, the Plasma Mode, all these different options here. Different ammo types, if I recall correctly, weapons had different ammo types. You have to find ammo, so it had an ammo system that you had to like be mindful of spending it, which is a system that I generally have liked in games. I've liked it in Nemesis. I've liked it in Resident Evil. I like having that ammo supply with caveats. I want it to feel like it actually matters in an interesting, significant way, not just a hypothetical. I don't love this card holder here. I don't love this. Like, is that how this is supposed to go? Oh, we put these cards in here as well. I want a better card box. I'm not a fan of this. Okay. I mean, it's not the worst, but I want a better card box. So we'll put that over there. We'll put this here. We'll put the dice back in. That all goes back nicely. We haven't gotten to any of the miniatures yet. And I have 20 minutes. I have 19 minutes before I play Cyberpunk 2077 with Command. So, we have our dashboards here. These are your individual player dashboards. These are super nice. I don't know how effective they are as far as doing what they're supposed to do. Holding the cards, the tokens, all the things. You have various chips over here, which I'm guessing is your ammo. I don't know. Oh, we have all those tokens. Yeah, this is probably your ammo containers, your cards, your character sheet. This is a really nice dashboard, keeping everything standing up so it saves space. Again, I'd have to actually play with it. Your health markers over here and your armor markers. I'd have to play with it to be able to comment on whether it's functionally good, but visually, I think it's solid. I think it's very solid. We have your health and your armor, so you put your health down over here, whatever spot it's supposed to be. Your armor goes whatever spot that's supposed to be, and doesn't fall out, like I just tossed it there. And then boom, you have your little trackers. I might want to paint those a bit, but honestly, it does the job fine. If I paint this, I don't really need to know what these are. They just need to be on the right row. These are going to be various, I don't know, weapons maybe? I don't know if those are. I'd have to look through the various tokens we have. But yeah, these seem really solid. Again, until I play with it, it's a kind of seems solid as opposed to is solid, but I'm very excited for these. So, that's this over here. We're going to put this off to the side. No, we'll leave it in here. We'll leave it in here. Then we have these over here, which are your kind of door system. So we have a whole bunch of doors. And again, there's a ton of stuff you could have gotten with this game as far as just the sheer amount of content you could get your hands on. I wonder how quickly this sets up. See, Arkan, in general, by the way, they do full lines of a whole bunch of different stuff. They do, let me see if this goes in. Okay, that pops in like this. That pops in like that. We pop in the door here. They do full lines of terrain, basically. They have tons of terrain systems. They have dragons. They have a whole bunch of fun things. This, you see, the problem is, this over here, this is, I wonder if it's supposed to be that. I don't think it's supposed to be like that. This is where you need proper miniature tweezers as opposed to what I'm trying to do. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to wait till I get miniature tweezers. I need to get my hands on some. But this is a door that has, the peg wasn't properly removed, but it'll still function. But this pops in here. Hey, look at that. It popped off there. So that's fine there. And now we have an openable door. Openable door does the job, opens, it closes. Does it open fully? Yeah, it opens fully. So we have a door here. Let's go ahead and show you the door. This is our door. Does the job opening it. And again, they have a full line of terrain for any number of different options. These all look mostly the same. We have another option type here with this one. I wonder if it's a different door frame. Is it the same door frame each time, or is it a different door frame? Because we could put this in here like so. Let's pop that in, making sure we keep the pressure on the right parts so we don't actually break things. And again, we have another little door, this time with a more of a grill kind of situation. So that's fine. That does the job. I like open doors. It has its own little mount, so you're going to put this onto a mount so it actually sits up like that. But that's going to be our door system, which is always fine. I always like door systems in a variety of games. At this point, I probably standardize them and just have my own doors somewhere. But we'll put these back in. These are the doors we have for Wolfenstein. Let's put these back in as well, and then let's look at the miniatures. So, miniature-wise, we have the drones in the first box. We have some drones and some basic enemies. Let's take a look at how they look. This is going to be our classic drone. Got the whole, mount there, does that. So it's, sitting on the board, doing its thing, just wandering around. Miniature quality looks fine. Like, it looks solid. I have no complaints. None whatsoever. You can take a look yourself. I mean, the color, this type of color doesn't show as well on camera generally. Very bright colors, when you're doing it on camera, they kind of, just look brighter. But in general, look brighter. Bright colors look brighter. But yeah, this quality here is completely fine. And fine is just, it's not a critique. It's really not. Like, if I was comparing this to any other company I was looking at a miniature unboxing of, it would be fine. The only thing is, their own standard they set with Unicast was a big standard to beat. And so that standard over there makes this a trickier conversation to talk about. Again, these are totally, the detail is solid. There's no, like, blobbiness or whatever you want to call it when miniatures don't retain the level of detail you want. It doesn't look, like, I'm just looking at the camera screen here. I don't know how it'll look on your screen, but over here it doesn't look as good on the screen to me as it does in person. Like, looking at this to my face over here, they do a good job there. So that's the miniatures here, and then we're going to take this out so we can go ahead and look at all the miniatures underneath, because there are a lot of miniatures underneath, including some heroes. Let's see if the heroes hold up a little better. Still not the best color, a little on the bright side, but this is BJ Blazkowicz, I think. No, BJ Blazkowicz is not. That's someone else. It might be BJ Blazkowicz too. I think there are a few, but he's kicking down a door over here. So we have this character here just kicking down a door. It looks a little better. It does look a little better. So this is that's the level of detail I'm seeing in all the miniatures. Again, nothing to complain about. They do a good job. It's a solid miniature. The only thing is compared to Unicast. So we're still not done talking about the two types of games, because we haven't gotten that far in the conversation here. We have over here, this is, I don't know who that is. A lot of characters here, I don't know who they are. But basically, two phases of gaming. So when I play a game as a content creator, as someone who's, putting up videos and covering them and reviewing them and all that stuff, there's two phases. There's the before the review and after the review. And it does mean that I engage in games in a different way that you might. And it's a relevant factor. Something I've talked about in videos in the past about how content creators engage with games differently than the average user, and that might change the way you should consider their opinion. For one thing, the average user plays a game when they want to play a game. The average content creator plays a game to get the game played. They're playing it because they have to. There's a timeline. There's a reason. You're trying to table it. Now, not always. There are plenty of reviews that I put out based on when I got to the game. There are many other reviews that I put out because it was an active Kickstarter, I had to get the coverage out, or in the case of Wolfenstein, I haven't seen much coverage on this game yet. So I want to play it anyway. I haven't seen much coverage. It helps me to get the video out sooner so I get more views, more clicks. I'm the first person to review Wolfenstein. That's always part of the conversation. And even if not the first, maybe I'm the first 3 as opposed to the first 10. Like, that always does get you more attention for something you want to do anyway. I love that teddy bear. I love that teddy bear. So it does introduce an element of forcing an interaction or a type of interaction that isn't the standard for the normal gamer, and that can absolutely bias the way you interact with the game. There are some games that maybe you would have hypothetically wanted to play it every month and a half. And now I just played it, 10 times in a month. That changes the way I experience the game, and it does alter or in some way bias the coverage. Not necessarily positive or negative, but it's the practical reality of getting information out there in a timely manner as opposed to saying, hey guys, it's been a year, here's your review of that game so you can go buy it. And everyone's like, no one cares anymore, it's been a year, that game's gone already. Or in some cases it isn't, but in most cases it is. So that's always the interesting bias there. So in my case, I go ahead and I get a game, and I engage with it as a content creator. I mentally look at it, I decide when I'm trying to play it, I try to figure out how it fits into my schedule. Using Bardsong as an example, I got Bardsong, I wanted to get some coverage out before it's, gone already. Not Bardsong, Burn Cycle. Heartsong 2, but Burn Cycle is what I'm talking about here. And so I got them both at the same time, and I played them both at the same time, and I read the rulebooks the same day, and they both start with B, which is why I keep confusing them. But Burn Cycle, I got Burn Cycle, I played it, I dove into it, got like I played it, played it myself, I played it with 2 players, with 3 players, went back in, tried different corporations. I went through it faster than I normally would to get, a bunch of plays in at different types of approaches, different player counts, different corporations, all those aspects, in order to be able to talk about it confidently. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Burn Cycle. You can check out my review coverage of it. It's fairly positive, but there's a degree of interaction that's different than if I were just experiencing my own, which I would have gone through it slower. I probably would have played it maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks slower, so it would have just changed the way I interact with it. But now I'm done with the review. The review's done. I've already done I did a solo playthrough. That's up on Patreon only. But I've done my coverage of the game, I've done my whole interaction, I'm still going to dive into it, but now I'm diving into it not like a content creator, meaning now there's no rush. Now I'll get to it when I get to it, now I'll play, let's pull up this guy here, there's a lot of miniatures here, very solid stuff. Now I'll dive into it whenever I have a chance. I still want to play it, but it's not the current thing I need to play for coverage. And now I'm playing it for fun. It's moved into the different zone. And sometimes when I'm done with a game, it goes away because, hey, that was a good game, I don't need to keep it. Interestingly enough, Burn Cycle, for a while, I thought I wasn't going to keep. I thought that I would enjoy it, but I'd always prefer Too Many Bones. It took multiple plays and different player counts in different situations for me to get to a part where I was like, I love this game just as much as, not just as much Too Many Bones, enough to keep it and still play it along with Too Many Bones, even separately. But it took me time to get there. So, and by this, another thing that's interesting, it's entirely possible, if not likely, that I would have gotten rid of Burn Cycle before it got to that point if I was playing it as a person, as an individual. I would have gotten like 2 or 3 plays in, enjoyed it, but said it's not too many bones. It took me like 5 or 6 plays before I got to the part where I was like, I think I want this in my collection. I always liked it. That's not the question. It's a question of how much I liked it. Half this video is about Bard's Burn Cycle at this point, and a quarter of this video is about Bard's thing, apparently. Anyways, so, what am I talking about? Why is this all relevant? Why did this come up? Because now I'm in phase 2 of Burn Cycle. I can now focus on phase 1 of Wolfenstein. Diving into it as soon as possible. These are the better miniatures, the bigger ones. Diving into it as soon as possible to experience the game that is on the table here, to dive into it and to see whether I like it. I can play it solo, I can play it multiplayer, probably will do both. I'll probably dive into it solo. Because it's co-op, it's interesting. When you're playing competitive games, I'm always mindful of diving into games solo first because it gives me a little bit of an advantage that I'm not looking for. But when it comes to playing co-op games, I don't mind diving into it first so I can clear everything out. Here's Mecha-Hitler. He's got a little mustache and everything. Like, you really can see his mustache. You might not be able to on the camera. I can see his mustache. It's got that level of detail. But anyways, diving into this game solo so I can get a feel for it, so I can set it up, table it, all that stuff. I'm totally down for that. I may just leave this out and set it up entirely. I may just go straight into this right now after this video because I have the time to read the rulebook. I can get that done. And this is a game I would like to table. Like, I'd very much like to table this one to see how I feel about the system. It's 11 pages of rules. I mean, more than that, but 11 pages of rules I actually have to pay attention to. That is, I might dive into it. Phase 1 of Wolfenstein. Diving into the game so I can get a feel for it and see if it's for me. And then, either it goes out the door, or we enter phase 2, where I like the game, and now I'm just playing it for fun. So, that's basically everything. It's just a single box this time, so it's not one of my, like, 45-minute long unboxings. Let me just show you. I didn't show you every miniature. There's a lot of miniatures. I didn't want to show you every detail. Let's do a single top shot of all the miniatures you can see here. This is basically the box, okay? That's the box with all the minis, with all their details, and then, once we're done with that, we can put the top part in on top of that. Now, what I don't love off the bat is this is going to go here, but we're going to have to figure out our token options. So, I could probably put the dice in here and tokens in here, because we have like trays of tokens. The tiles, I don't mind putting the map tiles on top, but I don't want the tokens on top. That just seems like obnoxious, so I'm probably going to put the tokens in that box over there. I think it does the job. I think it'll work just fine. Did we miss a tile, or did it fall out already? Let's make sure it didn't missing. We got it. Okay, perfect. Then these can go in there. Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. We'll have to figure it out. But I'm going to leave these. I'm going to put the campaign mission book in here. And I'm going to leave the rule book out because I think I'm diving into this as soon as we're done over here. That is Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein the board game from Arkan Games, Arkan Studios. That is Arkan Studio, not Arkan Games. I'm very intrigued, very excited to dive into it. I'm hoping it's awesome because, well, partially because I just want it to be awesome. Also partially because I have Masters of the Universe, Fields of Eternia coming, and I hope that that is awesome as well. And they're not related. This could be terrible and that could be great. This could be great, that could be terrible. But it's a good starting sign if a company puts out a good game to begin with. So that's it. That's been your unboxing of Wolfenstein the board game. Very excited to dive into this one. I hope King of Ravage's opinion lives up, and it's fine if it doesn't. We're allowed to have different opinions. I know that I love games he does not. I'm looking at you, Wild Ascent, and he loves games that I do not. I'm looking at you, what's that one? Oh my gosh, what is it called again? What's that game from the people who did Aeon's Trespass Odyssey? Aeon's Trespass Odyssey, and then they did the next game. Jeez, I've already blanked on it. They did a follow-up game to Aeon's Trespass Odyssey that I don't remember the name, that he loved, and I did not. So we're allowed to have different opinions. It's okay. I just want to like this game. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. Hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have a good one.